Hi all, this is Sherin. The last session we have discussed about the life cycle of a defect. Also we have seen examples of defects with different priorities and severities. Always I see people logs issues without enough details. Defect summary may not be there. Defect description may not be correct. Test data details won't be there. Likewise, people raise defects without enough details. So in this session we are going to see about the template of a defect, how we should raise the defect and how the template should look like and what are the components of the template. So these are the details that we are going to discuss today. So let's get into that. Okay, first discuss about the different components of a defect template. The first component is defect summary. We can mention the summary of the defect here. The second component, defect description. The description or the details of the issue can be mentioned here and it should be very clear. The third component is expected result. The details of expected behavior from the system for the mentioned issue can be given here. The fourth component is actual result. The details of actual behavior from the system for the mentioned issue can be given here. The fifth component is test data. What are the test data which are used when the issue is found? The details of test data can be given here. In the next component, test environment, the details of environment which are used for testing would be given here. The next component, steps to recreate the issue would be mentioned. This section tells the details on how the issue can be created again. This section is very important as developers follows exactly what is mentioned in this section to recreate the issue because they use this for investigation purpose. The next component is screenshots. The screenshot of the issue observed would be given here.
So the components of a defect template are defect summary, defect description, expected result, actual result, test data, test environment, steps to recreate the issue, and screenshots. Okay, now we will take an example and see this. In our online shopping website project, a tester is trying to validate adding product to the cart. He selects the product mobile and he tries adding that to the cart by clicking add to cart button. But after clicking add to cart button, the product is not getting added to the cart. He thinks of writing a defect for this. The tester starts preparing defect log for this. The defect summary can be user is not able to add the selected product to the cart. It's always better to mention the module name and the phase of the testing before the defect summary so that it can be very well understood by everyone who sees this defect. As this testing comes under placing an order module, the module name can be placing an order. And if the phase is system testing, that can be mentioned after this. So the defect summary can be placing an order underscore system testing underscore user is not able to add the selected product to the cart. The next section is defect description. Here the description of the defect can be mentioned. In our example, it can be user is not able to add the selected product mobile to the cart and system is showing product not added to the cart message. Be specific about the details that we give in the defect description. In our example, the tester is trying to buy a mobile. Be specific here and mention in the defect details that the tester is trying to add a mobile to the cart and it is failing. The next component is expected result. Here the expected result is user should be able to add the product mobile to the cart. The next component is actual result. As a user is trying to add the product mobile to the cart and it's failing, the actual result here can be user is not able to add the product to the cart. The next component is test data. As the tester is behaving as a customer, for validating this functionality, we should provide the login details of the customer. So the user ID, the password, and the product that he has selected should be given in the test data section. The next component is test environment. The environment or the test environment that the tester has used for testing this functionality, those details should be given in this section. So in our case, it can be the address of the website. The next section is steps to reproduce the issue. The steps for recreating the issue can be mentioned here. So in our case, it can be enter the online shopping website URL and click enter. log in as a customer by using user ID and password, search and select the product mobile, click on the Add Card button. So this is where we get the issue. So up to this we should mention so that the developer can investigate it in a better way. The final section is screenshots. For all the steps mentioned in steps to reproduce issue, we should show the screenshots, and also for the actual result, what we are getting in the system, the screenshot should be given. Okay, we have seen about defect template with an example. Let's get into the next topic, defect triage. Defect triage is a process to define the severities and priorities of a defect. The participants are representatives from PMO, business, development team, testing team, and other stakeholders. There are different activities involved in a defect triage. The first activity is walk through the defects. As participants from all the teams are available for a defect triage meeting, they discuss about the details of the defect, and if any kind of clarification is required from any of the parties, that would be discussed in the meeting and the items would be clarified. So the second component is clarify the doubts. The third component is re-evaluate the severity and priority of the defect. Tester usually gives severity and priority when they raise the defect. During defect triage meeting, this would be discussed again and severity and priority would be re-evaluated. The next activity is prioritize the fixes. If any defect is impacting more number of test cases, then it should be fixed immediately. During the defect triage meeting, these should be discussed and they find out what defect should be fixed first. They give a number to each of the defects raised by the testing team, and based on that, the defect fixes would happen. The final activity is assign the defects to the right team. The defect should be assigned to the right team for fixing it. If any defect which is raised by the testing team is in open status and if it is again assigned to testing team won't give the result, it should be assigned to the dev team for fixing it. These are the activities in a defect triage meeting. It starts with walk through with the defect. The next one is clarifying the doubts. The third activity is re-evaluating the severity and priority of the defect. The fourth activity is prioritizing the fixes. The final activity is assigning the defects to the right team. To summarize, we have discussed about defect template. We have seen defect with an example. We have discussed the different components of a defect. Then we have seen the defect triage process, which includes different activities. Hope this helps everyone a lot to understand about defect template and the defect triage process. If you like this session, please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel Test Talks. That's all folks for today. This is Sharon signing off. Thank you.